You pull it down. The door before wouldn't stay up and the table would fold out using a lever automatically. All right, here come the zombies. There we go. Lock the door. Keeping it dry?
No, not really.
Hello, Baker Bears, and welcome to this episode of Treehouse Tricks, Upgrades, and Solutions. Okay, in June we built the treehouse part. In July, now we're working on the tricks. To clarify, we followed the engineering design process step by step in the last video while we built the entire treehouse, kind of like building an entire puzzle. But now that we're focusing on specific parts of the treehouse, we'll be focusing on specific steps. How do you open that door? It's too heavy to push up. So, there's a secret door handle, and you pull it down. Whoop, there we go. Super excited about a new solution. Before we had two boards there. And I added a third to make it wider, and also so when this comes up, the trapdoor will stop on this post, not go all the way to the floor, and then that will help us remember to every time you get up to close it. Problem is it became really heavy. So how do you lift that? How do the kids push that up from the bottom? So then I tied a string, ran it up like a pulley, and then down over here to this handle. The handle, all you have to do is grab and pull down. That will open the door. New problem, the door before wouldn't stay up because the new added weight with this across here made it heavier. We kept falling back down. Have you ever wondered why cranes have giant blocks on one end? They're called counterweights, and they basically keep it balanced so that the crane doesn't end up tipping over. But now, kind of accidentally, with the weighted handle down there, it actually helps to hold this up. So now I can even go close to the edge, and it still does not fall, which is extra safety for those who are climbing up. So love accidental discoveries like that. And now it even slows the descent of this. So it's not a loud bang, and all I do is do a gentle step, and then back to normal. So cool! Just thought I could use extra strong fishing line and make that rope almost invisible. Guess what I found? 70-pound test. So it's really strong, but it's also stretchy. It does work, but you have to pull it down a little bit to get it to go. But if I lift this even just a little bit, what happens to the door? It gets loose and whew. So invisible. Also got to be careful not to trip over this as we walk by. When it's hanging down, if the door is open, I might have to replace this back with the regular rope. Originally, this rail would go up and down to make space for the climber coming out the ladder. It was just left too much space open, and we would forget to close it. I tried connecting the string that connects to the door up to the pulley, but I couldn't align these very well. It caused problems. And so I just went ahead and locked it down, and I put the safety so you don't bump your head coming up, and it's worked out really well. And show how the table works. Good news, we can eat in the rain.
Look at the snail fin. The snail. I mean, it's not as slow as I thought he would be.
Table's back up again. So we have the benches here, and I wanted to include a table, but I didn't want to take up too much space. This reminded me of a clever folding table my family had in our old camper van. That's me there with my grandma and my uncle. This beauty had the amenities of a Winnebago packed into an easy-to-drive vehicle that was the same length as a Volkswagen Bug, which I happen to know because we had both. In the pop top there was a fold-out hammock where I would sleep, and it could also set up another hammock in the front where my sister would sleep. And in the back was a pull-out couch that made a bed for my parents with storage above, below, and even a hanging closet. It had a fully functioning sink with water that was pumped by hand and a table that folded over the top of the sink. Below that was a built-in ice box and a mini fold-out table, which leads us back to the big fold-out table that inspired my picnic table in the treehouse. Now the one in the bus actually folded down instead of up, and I tried that, but I couldn't get the sizing part to work. And the table would fold out and rest, and then when you're done, you just fold it back. Be a little nervous being as tall as it is. I tried string, and I tied string up here, and I was going to have the table hang, but the string was too stretchy, and it didn't work very well. Because of the angle, I put a piece of wood there to make it stick out some. It leans back onto the tree, which makes it safe. Same with that one. And coincidentally, it adds facial expression to our treehouse face. So let's see how the bucket works. We have a wind-up bucket using a lever to raise it up. Okay, stop winding and grab the bucket if you can and bring it over. There you go. Earlier when Olivia tried to do the bucket, it was kind of difficult. So how do we make it easier? By making the lever longer, and therefore a longer lever spreads out the effort to make the work easier. Discovered a problem. The rain is going to probably quickly fill this bucket, and it'll be so heavy to rip it off. So I need to either put a hole in that bucket or change it into a basket, something where the water will drip through. So new safety gate. And then slide on down. And the gate remains closed. This also used to have a rail that folded up and down, but again, we would forget to close it, and that caused problems. And so now, when you open it, it automatically closes. Again, this is so if you accidentally fall in this direction, this strong rail is going to protect you, but also get out of the way when you're ready to slide. On Amazon, we found this plastic camo to give our neighbors some privacy from our treehouse. And on it, we were able to put some little glow-in-the-dark stars, as well as on our roof and a couple places around the treehouse. All right, here come the zombies. There we go. Lock the door. You don't want them to reach the handle down there. You just lift the handle up. And now stand on top of the door, and they can't get in. Safe. Woohoo! All right, I wonder why other tree houses had that lower beam there at the bottom raised up here, and now I know why, because look at the perimeter. There's leaves everywhere. I need to raise it so the leaves can escape. It's better. Now it can breathe. Is the roof working?
Yeah.
Keeping it dry?
No, not really.
The roof is working, but it's not really covering everything. It's still getting wet. So it sounds like a woodpecker. It's not a woodpecker. It is the wind blowing and stretching these trees apart, which is stretching that piece of wood apart. I'm going to have to change that, put some string instead, and that's okay. Good news, the roof is working well, and it's keeping the rain off the treehouse. Look at that. It's dripping over there. Nice. Another bonus, the roof that covers the treehouse also covers the hammocks, so I can lay out here in the rain, which is very nice.